Space. The final frontier. These are the continuing voyages of the starship Enterprise. Her ongoing mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Well, there it is. Hi.
Hi. Rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy.
Yep.
Mr. Spock.
There she is.
Sorry, that was Khan trying to get a word in. Yeah, sad news. Very, a big part of my life growing up. I know you're a Trek fan.
Yeah.
I think of the three of us, I'm the Trekkie, though, probably.
Yeah. I'm more of a Next Generation guy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a original series DS9 guy.
Yeah.
And DSW, great value for footwear. But not a sponsor. I said that for free. But LTG is sort of like our Spock, and he's not here with us tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's mourning.
Yeah, he's okay, though.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. So if you didn't hear the news, Leonard Nimoy, 83 years old, passed away. COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Yeah, from decades and decades of smoking, which is a note to me. So, thank God I'm finally kicking that. But really sad, an amazing guy, a much more important actor than I think people gave him credit for early in his career.
I mean, as Spock, too, he was the science officer on the ship.
Yeah.
Of a show that really inspired countless people to go into sciences and to, boldly go.
Yeah. And
so I think, it hit everybody kind of harder than I think people were prepared for.
Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of cool that a younger generation of fans got to see him play Spock in the reboot. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to be in the second movie. Abrams asked him to be in it. He had said, "I want to stand back and let
which probably would
Zach
have been
Quinto do it."
Probably would have been a better.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't that bad. Just the he is the most dangerous man. The thing about Khan
that was good, I guess.
But he was a gracious person by all accounts. A really interesting character, a really interesting guy, but also younger fans got to see him as Dr. William Bell.
Yes, I was going to mention that as well. On Fringe, which we are both huge fans of.
Yeah, huge fans of. And the cool thing is he had announced his retirement. Yeah. But he liked Fringe a lot, so that he just kept doing it. Yeah, and
they actually had him come back for that animated episode towards the end, too, where I think he finally kind of sacrificed himself.
Yeah, and they also had him, when he wasn't willing to appear, he did like a CGI
in the very last season.
Yeah. So, but he did the voice for it and everything, and he was he was a fan of that kind of work, which is odd because he had been at war with sci-fi, even though that was primarily the acting he did.
I mean, even Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yep, that's right. He plays the psychiatrist, right? Yep. And I believe he's in he's in a ton of old. He might be in Them, the Giant Ants movie.
The Ants movie.
He's been in a lot of sci-fi movies over the years, and just a really interesting character, a cool guy. He was born in Boston. Spoke Yiddish growing up, didn't speak English as a child.
Strange that so many of the Star Trek actors were Jewish.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the show is really about equality and moving forward with stuff like that, so I think it appealed to those actors. But he, imagine having to be an actor who spoke Yiddish in the house growing up and having to overcome a Boston accent.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be one of the hardest.
Combo.
Yeah, that's rough. But really interesting guy. Was not successful, but a very competent photographer. Had shows and exhibitions of his photography. wrote poetry, was tweeting poetry from the hospital bed shortly before he died, basically saying, I'm on my way out, and he was doing it in poems.
Did you hear his final tweet, too, which is very...
Was the one about the garden?
Yeah.
Read it to me?
A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had but not preserved, except in memory. Yeah. LLAP, live long and prosper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was his last final tweet.
Yeah, what
strange that also stuff like those final words are now preserved.
Yeah.
On a thing like Twitter.
And the thing is, the iconics. One of the coolest things about Star Trek is some of the iconic things from that show
became real.
And well, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. It inspired complete science and stuff like that. But I was referring to culturally. Like he invented the Vulcan. Well, he didn't invent, but he incorporated the Vulcan hand signal, which is often mistaken for the nanu from Mork and Mindy. But he incorporated that. Well, that's weird. We just lost Ron Williams too. But he incorporated that from a Jewish temple rite, a ceremony, and it's a traditional thing that the Jewish priests do. The word's not rabbi that I'm looking for, but I can't remember it. But you're not supposed to watch them. And as a child, he peeked. And actually, if you don't mind, Justin, I want to play a clip of him talking about that. Sure. It's really interesting. So I'm going to play that for us now.
We come to a very lovely script called Amok Time. It was the first time we were seeing other Vulcans, other people of my race. So I was hoping to find some touches that could develop the story of the Vulcan sociology, history, whatever, ritual. So I said to the director, I think we should have some special greeting that Vulcans do, because he said, what do you mean? I said, well, humans, we have these rituals, the things that we do. We shake hands, we nod to each other, we bow to each other, we salute each other. What do Vulcans do? So I suggested this. He said, okay. And that's how we did it as a greeting, a Vulcan greeting. Boy, that just took off through the culture. It was amazing. Within days after it was on the air, I was getting it on the street. People doing this to me, waving to me in this Vulcan gesture. That's interesting.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. And in a time where maybe, I think it's kind of ironic that in a time where maybe mainstream America was not. Let's face it. There's probably still a healthy dose of anti-Semitism at this point, and these people are doing this this Jewish rite gesture of the split hand that he incorporated into the character, and and anybody who's not Jewish would never know, and even a lot of Jewish people didn't know, because you're not supposed to watch. He talks about he was a little kid and his dad said, "Don't look. You're not supposed to look," and you're not supposed to see that part of the ceremony. It's a really fascinating man, and this is going to be a somber and very short sidekick because we decided that, we had other things to talk about, but this is probably the biggest news that we've had, and in nerddom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This week, definitely.
I mean, how do you feel about the guy? How do you feel about Star Trek? How do you feel about the legacy?
I'm gonna miss him. I mean, he hasn't really done a lot in the Star Trek universe until very recently, but he's going to be incredibly missed. I think, William Shatner also, he didn't get to attend the funeral.
Right, he was at a charity event.
Yeah, he was at a charity event, but he spent most of his time at the charity event answering questions from fans about Leonard, and he went on this really long kind of goodbye, farewell to his friend, even though he wasn't able
he eulogized him from afar.
From afar, yeah.
The thing is, there's a lot of people who think that all the Star Trek actors and Shatner don't get along.
Yeah.
First of all, from what I understand, he and DeForest Kelley and James Doohan did actually reconcile shortly before they passed away. But Leonard Nimoy and Shatner actually have always been incredibly close.
Yeah.
I believe Nimoy.
They describe each other as brothers.
Yeah,
often.
I believe Nimoy was the best man at Shatner, one of Shatner's 4 weddings, and Shatner's late wife, who died accidental drowning death. Very sad story, but I believe she had trouble with alcohol, and Nimoy was a recovering alcoholic and had tried to help her, like really, really tried to help her. So, you know, they were very close, and, you know, a lot of people make fun of, and we're going to hear it a little bit later, a lot of people make fun of that scene where Kirk is eulogizing Spock, and he says his was the most human.
Yeah.
But you got to wonder.
So fitting now.
Yeah, and there may have been some real, you know, there may have been some real emotion in that. You know?
On a lighter note, have you heard about the Spocking of currency in Canada?
I heard something about this. Tell me about it.
So, like, apparently it's not illegal in Canada to deface currency, so it's A-okay for them to do this. But they've been taking, like, the $5 bill that has this gent on it that kind of has very Nimoy-ian features.
Okay.
And they just draw a little, like, bowl cut on him and ears.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, yeah, so there's all these, like, $5 bills circulating
I want to
around
get
Canada.
one. Oh, I got to get
Spock's
one of those.
picture.
If we have any listeners in Canada, send a comment. I will send you
find-
US
or if you can
5.
make-
I will send you US 5 in exchange for a Canadian 5.
That is Spocked.
I believe you come out ahead in that deal, but not by much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
little
I thought
statement
that was
about
pretty
it.
cool.
That is very, very
I mean,
cool.
yeah, that his reach is. It isn't just an American series.
Oh, no.
Star Trek.
No.
It's a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
A global phenomenon.
Now, I should fact check this before I say it, but I'm just remembering something. I was reading when he passed away. You know, there's been a lot of stuff about him, and apparently he was a big advocate for equal pay.
Yeah, he did.
And
he tried to get Nichelle Nichols.
I
or
think
he
he
did.
successfully,
I think he did,
and
Lobbied.
Walter Koenig, who was new to the series because he came in second season, middle to first, in other words. But he got them equal pay. Really, really a phenomenal guy.
Yeah, that's some stand up.
Yeah, just a really cool character in life and on celluloid, and you know, wow, what one of the biggest, one of the most iconic figures in science fiction. I have to say,
by
you know?
far.
So any other interesting stuff that's happened since he passed? Any other tributes?
No, I don't. I have nothing that I.
I'm sure there will be a lot.
Be.
Yeah. You know, I'm a bit morbid, and you know, I like the in memoriam stuff at award shows, and I'm always interested to see how the people react to certain people coming up. So he'll be in the Oscars,
Emmys.
but the Emmys would be the one. You would think that there'll be a big. I'll never forget Carol O'Connor, Archie Bunker got a huge ovation. You know, which is weird because you're applauding that somebody died, but
Exactly, it's kind of bittersweet.
yeah, but pretty cool. And Zach Quinto actually, I think, tweeted something very, very, you know, I love you, my dear friend. You know, that's got to put more pressure on the guy who's playing the character now.
Yeah.
Because you really now have a sacred legacy that you've got to, you know, keep up.
Yeah. He
Very,
does a good
very-
job, though.
He's great. No,
Quinto
I mean,
Spock.
I have some issues with the reboot stuff. I mean, I think if anybody, I almost said Keith Urban, Carl Urban.
Yeah,
Keith Urban would be a very different Bones.
Yeah.
But I think Carl Urban knocks it out of the park. I mean, that performance.
His Bones is incredible.
It's sick.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Lord
you can
Vaco
see
from DeForest Kelly peeking through. In the performance.
It's you know, Vaco from Riddick. You know, it's Eomer, and he is.
Yeah.
He
Riders
channels,
of Rohan,
he channels DeForest Kelly as Bones. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I got one more little sound clip here I'd like to play, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
All right. Amazing scene.
Ah, yes.
I have been, and always shall be, your friend. Live long and prosper.
Yeah, well done death scene.
Yeah.
You know, as
So good. They didn't they repeat it but reverse it into darkness.
Yep.
That's how
Yeah.
iconic it is.
Yeah. Very, very, very amazing. Now, a couple things to take from that. First of all, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but Shatner claims he can't do the Vulcan salute.
Oh yeah.
He can't do it. He's tried. And
That's a strange
so they apparently have to tape his fingers like that.
Huh.
And so he pops it up on the glass, and I guess you can tell if you look closely. People claim you can that they're taped open, and then or the two fingers are taped together over here. And then the other thing is, Nimoy wasn't going to come back after that.
Oh yeah, that was supposed to be his exit.
Yeah, but what happened is they said, we'd like you involved in some way in the next film, and he said, I'd like to direct it.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And he directed that.
Search for Spock.
Which was okay.
Yeah.
And then he did The Voyage Home, which
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
is the second most successful in the franchise history after the reboot. And then he did Three Men and a Baby. He directed that.
Wow,
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Which was the top grossing film the year it came out.
That's
and
interesting.
he just said, okay, I did that. I'm going to walk away from directing. He directed like 4 or 5 movies. He was like, okay, that was fun. Don't want to do it anymore. I want to take pictures with my old camera that I rebuilt when I was a kid and write poetry.
What a cool guy.
Yeah, cool guy. And just thought it would be good to pay a little tribute to him. So, I mean, anything you want to say about him?
Just rest in peace.
Rest in
Leonard.
peace, Leonard Nimoy. And you will forever you accepted this in later years. You didn't like being called Spock, but you will forever be Spock, and that is a good thing.
Yeah.
So rest in peace, and
Boldly go, my friend. Boldly
yeah,
go.
boldly go.
We are assembled here today to pay final respects to our honored dead. And yet it should be noted that in the midst of our sorrow, this death takes place in the shadow of new life, the sunrise of a new world, a world that our beloved comrade gave his life to protect and nourish. He did not feel this sacrifice a vain or empty one, and we will not debate his profound wisdom at these proceedings. Of my friend, I can only say this. Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human. Others?